Hello everybody, I'm Wanda Martin, fashion and portrait photographer and Canon Ambassador, and welcome to this year's Canon Redline Challenge. This year's concept is room to breathe, and I know it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people, and that's why I think it's actually a great theme. For me, when I first read the title, Room to Breathe, the first word that came to mind was freedom. So actually I selected a few pictures I want to talk you through now. I'm a portrait and fashion photographer, so naturally I picked portraits. But for you, it doesn't mean you have to do the same thing. You can do landscape photography, nature, street photography, documentary, whatever you're interested in. First of all, I'm showing you two of my self-portraits I actually took during the pandemic. It was just a great way of experimenting, and it was sort of an escapism for me. First one, basically, it's an homage to that famous painting, Girl with the Pearl Earrings. But I was completely on my own. I was literally like doing the styling from the things I found at home. On this specific picture, I just wrapped a towel around my hair, and I just, put like a random jacket on I found at home, and I was using natural light. Usually what I do, I have a tripod, I put my camera on, and I use a trigger. But then Canon has this really smart little app called Camera Connect. So you can connect your camera to the smartphone you have, and like literally you can do all your settings from your phone. The second self-portrait of mine, I used a fisheye lens, and I never actually used a fisheye lens before, so I found it fascinating how the distortion of this fisheye lens can have that sort of surreal touch on a picture. And first maybe when you look at this picture, and maybe even when I was actually taking this photo, this was not necessarily the concept in mind, the room to breathe or freedom or whatever, because it was shot during the pandemic. But when I look at that door in the background, that has another layer of meaning to it, getting out of that enclosed environment and just longing for something else. It definitely means room to breathe now. So the next photo is actually a portrait of a ballet dancer. We were shooting this beautiful palazzo, and at one point we were taking a break, and he was just resting on the sofa when I looked at him, and all of a sudden this beautiful golden sunshine started coming through the window. So I asked him to stay, and I immediately started taking a few portraits of him in the moment of resting. When I'm working with natural light, I'm looking at my subject's face, and I'm just looking at the shadows, and I'm trying to find an appealing angle. My main focus is usually the facial expressions. And if you're too busy with all these lights, sometimes you can miss a very important moment or a very interesting facial expression. And I know that I was shooting a model/ballet dancer in this beautiful palazzo in Palermo, but it's more about the general principle. Like now, if we look at this picture, he's a friend of mine. I shot him in my living room, and it's the same concept. I was using natural light, I was using this sofa. It's a very similar pose as well. It doesn't have to be a palazzo, it doesn't have to be a model. You can be shooting in your living room, and you can be photographing anybody. So I think a good room to breathe photo definitely has that escapism and freedom element. So I really hope you found this video useful and you learned something, and I really hope you're gonna manage to use these tricks and tips whenever you start working on your pictures. And as I said before, feel free to interpret this theme on your own way, because it can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Honestly, I cannot wait to see your pictures, and enter now.